I want to talk to you about a piece of paper, not a rumor, not a complaint, an actual document posted on an actual wall by actual management. A document that was meant to reassure you. A document that was supposed to make you feel like things were moving in the right direction. I'm going to read it with you, and then I'm going to show you what it actually says when you hold it up against the real world you're living in right now, because there's what a document says, and then there's what it means. And those two things are not always the same. This is called Facts About DBE's November 2025 New Contract Proposal. It was posted February 18th of 2026. It comes from Kami Mickens, LLC. That's management. And to their credit, they put it in writing. So let's take them at their word and do exactly what they're inviting us to do. Let's look at the facts. The money. The headline offer is this: immediate pay increases effective day 1 of the new contract. For bartenders, that's $17.77 an hour. Servers, $14.47. Cooks get the best number in the room at $20.57. And then they show you a table, and in that table, right next to your wage, they add $8.80 in benefits and present you with a total compensation number. For bartenders, that's $27.33. For servers, $24.04. Here's what you need to understand about that table. That $8.80 never touches your hand. It doesn't pay your rent. It doesn't put gas in your car. It goes toward an insurance package that they haven't fully defined anywhere in this document. They're combining your paycheck with their operational costs and presenting the sum like it's your salary. That's not dishonest in a technical sense, but it is a frame, and frames are designed to make things look a certain way. Your wage is $17.77. Remember that number. We're going to come back to it. Let's talk real numbers. MIT runs something called the Living Wage Calculator. It's not a political document. It's not a union document. It's an academic institution calculating the bare minimum hourly rate a person needs to cover basic needs in a specific city. For Las Vegas in 2026, that number for a single adult with no children is $24.20 an hour. $24.20. The contract is offering bartenders $17.77. That is $6.43 an hour below what an independent research institution says a single person with no kids needs just to survive here. Not thrive. Survive. You want to talk about servers? $14.47. That's almost $10 an hour below the living wage. $10. On a 40-hour week, that's $400 a month. On a year, that's nearly $5,000. Gone. Not negotiated away, not traded for something else. Just gone, before you ever factor in a single dependent, a medical bill, or the thing that should make every Las Vegas hospitality worker's stomach drop. Now let's talk expenses like car insurance. The average car insurance premium in this city right now is $335 a month. Every month, that's over $4,000 a year, just to legally drive to the job that is already paying you below a living wage. And you don't get to opt out of it because this city doesn't have a transit system that gets you to work. You need that car. Management knows you need that car. And none of that reality appears anywhere in this document. Continuing on to retroactive pay, the part that sounds good or did sound good. Now let's talk about the $1,560. That's the retroactive pay offer. 75 cents an hour going back through 2024 and 2025 for anyone who worked the full 2,080 hours. And I'm not going to tell you that number isn't real money, because it is. If you're living close to the edge, and most of us are, that check matters. But here's what it actually is. Las Vegas cost of living went up 3% from 2025 to 2026 alone. That retroactive check is management handing back a portion of the purchasing power that inflation already took from you during that same period. It is not a bonus. It is not generosity. It is a partial refund on a debt that quietly accumulated while you were showing up every shift and doing your job. Continuing, let's talk about future raises and what sounds promising. 90 cents in 2026, 95 cents in 2027, $1 in 2028. On a $17.77 wage, 90 cents is a 5% increase. And I know that sounds like it's keeping pace with inflation, but grocery prices in this city just went up 4.2%. Electricity rates are projected to climb 3.4% every year through 2030. Gas is already above the national average. Housing costs went up 3% just this year. You are not getting ahead. You are running in place on a treadmill that keeps getting faster, and the raises in this proposal are designed to feel like movement without actually closing the gap between where wages are and where they need to be. Let's talk about two things buried in the fine print that I want every single person watching this to understand. The first one is vacation pay. Management says they're not eliminating it, and technically that's true. But what they are proposing is that if you are terminated for cause under a specific section of the agreement, you forfeit your prorated vacation payout, and the causes listed include something called severe misconduct or discourteous behavior. Discourteous behavior. In a service industry job, where the customer is always right, where you are expected to absorb whatever a patron brings to your bar and respond with a smile. The definition of discourteous in this context belongs entirely to management. That language is a trap door, and it will only matter when they want it to. The second one is overtime. Management says they're not removing it. They're just correcting the language so that holidays you don't physically work don't count toward your 40-hour overtime threshold. What that actually means is this. On a holiday week, the weeks when you are already working harder, covering reduced staff, absorbing extra volume, the hours you would normally accumulate toward overtime will now reset. You will have to physically work more hours before overtime kicks in. That is a real reduction in real pay disguised as a technical correction. Wrapping this up, I want to be fair. The raises are real. The retroactive check is real. The benefit contribution is real. I'm not standing here telling you management offered you nothing. I'm telling you they offered you something designed to feel like enough, and you get to decide whether it is. Here's what I know. To live comfortably as a single person in Las Vegas right now, you need to earn between $45,000 and $65,000 a year. A bartender at $17.77 working every available hour of a full-time year brings home roughly $37,000. That is below the floor of comfortable. That is not a negotiating position. That is a structural problem that this contract does not solve. Las Vegas is one of the most profitable hospitality markets on the planet. The people who built that market, the bartenders, the servers, the cooks, the floor staff, deserve wages that reflect the city they helped create. Not wages that require a second job. Not wages that make a car insurance bill feel like a crisis. Not wages that force you to choose between rent and groceries in a city where tourists spend more on a single meal than some of you make in a shift. This document was posted to answer your questions. I hope it answered mine too. The math doesn't lie, and neither should the contract. Keep fighting. If you work in Las Vegas hospitality and you've seen this, share this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments.